All right, well, another team in blue got a big win this weekend in the Premier League, and I'm talking about the world champions. Yep, Chelsea. The world champions, Chelsea. They won 2-1 over Liverpool at Stamford Bridge. It was a late show, but for the Blues this time. And Arne Slot has a lot to think about after Liverpool now suffering a string of losses. Craig, where do you want to start with this one? What Chelsea did right to win, or why Liverpool once again lost?
Well, we can get to Liverpool, I mean, because that is a big story. But I thought Chelsea were, bearing in mind they've got a bunch of injuries as well, and the back line was decimated. The way they pressed Liverpool yesterday was so impressive. The way they passed it, and they were composed in their passing. The way they got at that Liverpool back line, just never gave them any time on the ball. They were very assured at the back as well. I just thought Chelsea were excellent. I think domestically that was the best performance of the season by a stretch, and bearing in mind they had the injuries as well, I just thought they were excellent. Again, for Liverpool, where do you start? I mean, I heard Stevie talking about it yesterday when on the Arne Slot interview that he was sort of clutching at straws. Yeah. Arne Slot about chances they created and they did this. He's got problems all over the park. I mean, he's got a superstar who's not playing well in Mo Salah, and he's not working very hard either defensively, and you saw some of the players getting frustrated with him. He's got a problem at right back because he's lost Alexander Arnold's passing range and that dynamism. Okay, defensively he was always quite weak there, but he's lost that. He's brought in one of the best left backs in the Premier League in Kerkez, who's just lost his confidence in his form, and I think is about to get dropped for Andy Roberts. I think he's going to have to bring Robertson back into the team. So the whole back line's not working right. The midfield's not working right. You've dropped your superstar again for one of the biggest games of the English domestic season away from home. You've benched him, and I know they chased Alexander Isak for it seemed weeks, if not months, and I know he cost a lot of money. Yeah. And he played him, and I'm not blaming Alexander Isak. Maybe he needs game time, but your best player, up until his stupid booking in the Carabao Cup, I think it was Hugo Ekitike, not Alexander Isak. And you play your best players, and Ekitike was on great form and is on great form. And so some of these decisions from Arne Slot are baffling. From not this game, but starting Szoboszlai at right back in the Champions League, which he's done before, which he reneged on in this Chelsea game, because we talked about it in midweek. Square pegs and round holes is a difficult sell. So Arne Slot last year did a lot of things right. A lot. And yeah, they ran out of steam at the end of the season, but he did a lot of things right. And we touched on it primarily with Stevie. He said every time he does something, it works. Whether it's a substitute coming off or a player coming off. The league table will tell you it's been a good start, but the eyes will tell you there's a lot of problems. A lot of problems. And he doesn't seem to, at this moment in time, to have the answer. And the midfield's a problem, the back line's a problem, Mo Salah's an issue, and what does he do with Isak and Ekitike? And he's got all these things to figure out because they are not playing well and haven't been for the bulk of the season. From the Community Shield, when Nedum and I were at it, and we watched the game and we watched the defence, and we said, okay, he's got that to work on, he's got that to work on, he's got that to work on. Partnerships all across the back four. Balance in the midfield. We are, 2.5 months into the new season or whatever it is, and he has got more problems now than he did on match day one.
I think he recognises that he has those problems. If you look at his substitutions, Endo coming late on, I think that's just to take a draw and let's get out to London as best we can. On the other side of that very coin, though, Maresca makes attacking substitutions late on, and they are rewarded for it. And that just kind of speaks to, I'm tempted to say the momentum of these two teams, but Chelsea, as Craig mentioned, decimated by injuries, have been lost the last couple of games themselves, yet it was Maresca who was the one who was willing to roll the dice in going for all 3 points and rewarded for it. Arne Slot has got some figuring out to do here, and while in his press conference he's kind of making a point, and I think it's a pretty ridiculous statement to make when you start talking about the second half and how much better we were in the second half. Well, you're chasing the game at this point. You know, I thought Chelsea were deserving of their halftime lead. They, in the end, were deserving of their 3 points. And for you to just be clinging to, well, we were a little bit better in the second half, it speaks to the issues that you have. And whether it's Alexander Isak, who had a gilt-edged opportunity, gilt-edged header that he should have done better with, got a little bit lucky with the assist, if you ask me. Arne Slot has got some big decisions to make here. Around Alexander Isak, around Mo Salah, Florian Wirtz came off the bench and then all of a sudden announced himself to the game with wonderful effect. And yes, Liverpool were better in the second half. Can Arne Slot make those big decisions to get Liverpool right? Because whatever it is, it's, despite their position in the table, it's not clicking right now, and he needs to shake things up significantly.
All the guys that were performing really well from last year. I mean, you take Gravenberg, who was sensational last year. He looks a shadow of the player at the moment. You know, giving the ball away, and you know, he's just not in the right place at the right time, and getting dragged out. And Alexis McAllister's another one. I've never seen him give the ball away as much as he has at times this season. And then this conundrum about how do we get Florian Wirtz into this team? How does he get him into the team to make them tick and get his confidence up and get him to do the kind of things we know that he can do and he did do in Germany for many a year as a youngster, which he still is, a young player. And I know, again, I go back to it. Ekitike has been your best front man. Mm-hmm. He's been scoring goals. He's been linking the play up. He's been dropping into good positions to drag defenders out and let others get in behind. Are we buckling to, and I suppose this is maybe slightly hypocritical, because if you're trying to get Florian Wirtz into the team, then why would you try and get Alexander Isak into the team? But, you know, they got two strikers, so they've got an option there. They haven't got two playmakers per se. And so I felt the Isak inclusion was, you know, he's the big money guy. You know, I've got to get him some game time. If I was Ekitike, I would not be happy. And I go back to the defence. I do feel, and it's unfortunate, but I do feel he's going to have to take Kerkez out of the heat. I think at the moment it's too hot for him. I think he's probably getting a bit of an ear bashing from Van Dijk, who's his sort of partner in there. And you know, Van Dijk's getting under pressure because Kerkez is getting in bad positions. And I think he's going to have to, for the short term anyway, go back and put the experience of Andy Robertson back into the side, just to try and get the basics right and stem the flow. So a lot of big decisions to make for Arne Slot. But what we know is, at this moment in time, if it continues the way it is for them, they're not going to put a run of results together. Not the way they're playing. Not positive results anyway.
Yeah, Nedum, as the boys are saying, a lot of big decisions for Arne Slot to make, but a lot of them surrounding some of the newer faces at Liverpool. But one tried and true pillar of strength for Liverpool has been Mo Salah. And I can't believe we're entertaining the idea now of should Arne Slot drop him if he's not really delivering like the Mo Salah we're used to seeing. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a really interesting thing to ponder, because I don't think many managers have had the bravery to be able to do it in times gone by because of his value to the team and the fact that, you know, with Salah, even if he's not on his day, he can still provide that moment that can make a difference. And I think if you see him coming off the bench, he'll probably look like it did with that last year with Jurgen Klopp, where the two were almost falling out at times. I remember in the back half of the season, him and Salah having a disagreement on the side of the pitch at West Ham, you know, and that doesn't bring out the best in Mo Salah. But it is strange to see him performing like this. I think you look at sort of impact that he's having within games at this moment in time, and he's getting into the right sort of areas, but the outcome's not the same, whether it's the cross, whether it's the finish. Some of the burst isn't there, and as Craig said, from a defensive standpoint, he probably needs more than ever to be sort of supporting the fullbacks over there in this instance, given how weak Liverpool appear to be in the transition at this moment in time. But yeah, for Slot, you know, you just can't see him taking him out, because you wonder, well, who else can play on that side? The answer is, you know, that's Salah's position. It's not going to be a Kerkez, it's not going to be Ekitike, it's not going to be an Isak, it's not going to be a Wirtz, it's not going to be Curtis Jones or anybody like that. It's like the position is just his and his exclusively, almost like the left centre half position is Van Dijk's. So it is going to be really, really interesting for him in terms of trying to fix this problem, because I think at the start of the season, when they're winning the games late and so on, we knew the performances weren't perfect, but they were finding a way, and we wanted to champion that, because rightly so we should. But at the start of the season, there's also a question to be asked about, like, why aren't performances as good as they need to be? You know, you've had a pre-season, you've had time on the training pitch to get the team ready to go. You know, they didn't play at the Club World Cup, so they've had more time off as well. So yeah, some of those flaws that they had are now starting to come to fruition. And I think as every week passes that's like this, not only does it start to affect the Liverpool, say, team, I think it affects the opposition as well, because now they can see ways to go and attack that side. They know who's in form, they know who's doing something well and who's not. They know some of these tendencies. And I tell you what, after having 3 defeats in a row, what you don't want is a game against Manchester United in 2 weeks' time. United that will believe that they can get a result at Anfield. So the pressure's well and truly going to be on for Arne Slot. And I think he needs some top performances from some of these players. Otherwise, could be a little mini crisis.
Believe that you can get a win at Anfield.
I don't know. That might be exactly the game that Liverpool needs.
Oh, that might be exactly what Liverpool are hoping for. But do you drop Salah?
Not yet.
Okay.
Let me put it that way. It's not that I think that Mo Salah is undroppable, but he's proven over the years, and it's dangerous just to bank on somebody's history, but when you need a big goal, Mo Salah has been Liverpool's turn to for a number of seasons. Again, that doesn't really change his performances right now. And added to the point, I'm not sure who fills that void if you do leave him out. As Nedum points out, that there's nobody in that squad that steps in on that right-hand side with similar effect. Because even when Mo Salah isn't scoring, his presence changes how defenses have to play, how defenders pair up one-on-one, how centre-halves cover. So I stick with him for now, just because I do not see another viable option.
Just quickly, even if they haven't got a natural right-sided player, Luis Diaz not there anymore, and Cody Gakpo, most of them want to play off the left-hand side. Even if you haven't got that player, if his form continues, not just his form, his lack of work rate defensively at times, not always, at times, and you saw Szoboszlai having a go at him yesterday, there was 1 or 2 other players that had got him. If they continue to creak and crack as a team defensively, you'll have to take him out the firing line, Mo Salah. You have to take him out of the team just to get somebody in that side that's going to do a job defensively, to try and stem this flow of losing goals and teams creating a bulk of chances against you, which most teams have in the Premier League this season, if we're being honest about it. And so there is a duty that he has, whether he's a superstar or not, to, when he's not performing at his best, going forward, and things are not happening for him, to make sure, whether it's Connor Bradley or Frimpong playing on the right-back side, that he's back there doing a job. And if he's doing neither of those, then he has to come out the team. So Mo Salah has got some thinking to do in terms of, my duty to this team is not just going that way. When things are going badly, he has a duty, which he has done before to great effect. But this year, you'll find him hovering around in the halfway line more often than not. And we call that cheating in the game. And so a lot of players do it. But that's a risk. And I don't think Liverpool, at this moment in time, the way they are set up, can afford to take that risk, because they are too fragile defensively.
Well, you know who had Mo Salah as a Premier League player of this season when we were asked for early predictions?
You.
This girl right here.